time. Our opponent is currently 3-0. Interesting. Seems kind of iffy, to be honest, but. The annoying part is sometimes, even though I don't think that's a good play, it works out for our opponents. I'm just gonna slam this into days here. They have a second day, so be it. But I want to be able to glimpse the following turn. And we're not gonna trade. Hey Runcor, how's it going? Yeah, I decided to stream today. My wife's out of the house, but let me take out the glare. But I figured this might be good for everybody on the in Europe. So our opponent is really tanking right now. I don't know why, but yeah. So I'm running experimental list right now. I know a lot of people have been having a lot of success. Let me. Yeah, I just realized it's not playing down. Nope, don't want to do that. But I noticed that a lot of people are having success with my white sideboard, so I wanted to take that a step further and try, a more aggressive, or I guess defensive, maybe is the right word, sideboard with the full set of Swords of Plowshares instead of just 2-2 split with that and Prismatic Ending. Thank you for the follow, Cino557. This is our first match today. We'll see how it goes. I have not played Legacy in the last 2 days, or 3 days really, but I think the list overall is good, so it should not be too bad. Sure. We're gonna glimpse here because we're just gonna draw 2 regardless. I'm gonna lead with the Heritage because I think the Ranger has more value. And then here I'm gonna fetch the Bayou because in case we draw the Grist main deck. Game's probably over given that we've already drawn 3 now. That's even worse for our opponent. I don't think we need to bounce anything. If they have like some kind of, I don't think they have Sweeper's main deck, so that's fine. Against post board, I may be tempted to bounce the Visionary, but there's no reason to right now. What's unique about this list is I'm playing the Oof main again. I had the Scavenger Ooze in the main for a while. If you go to MTG Goldfish, the last few Elf entries have been playing essentially my list, or similar. So you have a good feel for what's been in the main and what's like kind of hovering between main and sideboard. In leagues, I tend to like ley lines better, but not running in this league. Yeah, the fact that they are digging and just have no pressure. I think this game one is over. Yeah, second curse is good. I like it better if we're base uh green black, but really now white or yeah, really white is the predominant removal color now. So yeah, they did a lot just to turn on that DRC. Frankly think the game is over. They may have drawn into the force, but like they're pretty far behind in my opinion. If they force this visionary. Okay, that gets even worse for them. Uh, the stock list is 2-2. I'm gonna. The stock list is 2-2, but I'm trying 4-0 to just for testing purposes for the stream. Okay, that's fine, I guess. Um, I think we'll just pitch the collector. Oof. Everything else is like pretty good. Yeah, I don't think it matters. Like if they didn't concede by now, they should. Yeah. Like we're a little sloppy right here, but I don't think it really matters. Like I knew the game was over like a couple turns ago. So yeah, the main difference here is I just want to test four swords. Um, it's possible that this is better. One ending might be worth it too because in case we need to kill something random like a ensnaring bridge or whatnot, or like against chalice decks, an ending is probably better. And maybe 2-2 split is good. Anything spicy versus Doomsday? Yeah, you can crop rotation for Wasteland. If they go turn one Dark Ritual Doomsday, that probably wins you the game, to be honest. Um, but in general, like the real haymaker that we have against Doomsday is Ipnu Rivulet, and I don't think the blue cards are worth it, at least not right now. Um, I mean, I guess I'll reveal now that I had been working this past week on a red version instead of white, and you have Pyroblast. Uh, there are some advantages and disadvantages to that version. Namely, your combo matchup get a little bit better because Red Blast is good against Show and Tell and decent against Doomsday, but the white removal tends to be better than the red removal, in my opinion. So far with the testing that I've done. So it depends what you expect to face. If you face more fair decks, the white splash is probably better. At least from my experience. But the fair decks tend to be better matchups too, for whatever it's worth. So in this matchup, four swords is just kind of insane. Um, I probably want the Cabal Pit too as extra removal. Don't want the Collector Oof, I don't think. And I can bring in one crop rotation, that's fine. Nothing else I really want to bring in. Wasteland's kind of whatever against a Delver deck. It's better against like the Ragavan Saga decks because you can kill the Saga. But here you don't. You're like you're for the most part they're the beatdown. You're the control. Yeah, Blood Moon is like decent. The problem is like Blood Moon and Reclaimer is kind of a nombo. Rurik Thar I just don't think is a playable card in my opinion anymore. Archon just does what it does but better. I think this is not great, but I'm gonna keep. Once Upon a Time is gonna hit. So REBs are good though. Yeah, a lot. I played it a lot of years ago too, for sure. Runcore. Um, Runcore is somebody that I've interacted with a lot in the Elves chat. So we'll see if Bob Buttons will force our Once Upon a Time the way they did Game One. I mean, we won, but like it just aggravates me to see people do things like that, and then every once in a while get rewarded. I mean, they're probably based on their playstyle. They made days this. They're thinking about it or forcing it. They forced the Game One. I don't think that's correct, but I mean, people like to try to cheese wins. Yeah, Slaughter Games is a throwback. I don't think it's a playable card anymore, but it's a card I thought about a long, long time ago when Death Rider was like first added to the deck. Oh my god. There we go. The thing is, like, you don't want to reveal whether you have a land drop or not because you have to make them think. Like, you have to be able to punish them if they get aggressive and think that, oh, you don't have a land. So the thing is, you need to be consistent and not give away information with you or Once Upon a Time. Like for instance, a common question I'll get asked is, "Oh, why Once Upon a Time on opposing players turn to play around days?" The answer is no, because I don't want to let them know I need a land drop. They did not attack, so we're just gonna attack in. Um, the Once Upon a Time was like good and bad there. Good in the sense that we hit the land. What is going on? Somehow our opponent is 3-0 with a Steam Vents. This is kind of crazy. Yeah, I think if our boy Jonathan were here, he he mentioned that force of negation is unfair because like when you build your deck suboptimally and somehow still win games just because the cards are so powerful, it's just kind of demoralizing. Depending what we draw here. Oh, that is a hell of a draw. I was just gonna say, depending what we draw here, we're gonna glimpse. I mean, my criterion was kind of like if it was a land. Sure. I don't believe they have a sweeper. And the reason why is because they spent the braid. It's a little bit greedy, in my opinion, um, to not sweep there when they could have. But I don't know. People do weird things. Oh, thank you for the raid, Anurag. Thank you for the follow, Tenderless 420. All right. So this is like, yeah. If they're trading one for one, like I don't think they have volley or like whatever sweeper. Turn one dead. So Resident Combo Specialist is in the house. My boy Jax. And I just want to give a shout out to Anurag for the raid because really appreciate that, Anu. For those who don't know, I think I saw Anurag get married recently, so congratulations to him. Um, but just all around good guy from the time that I've known him. All right, so I don't think they have. we kind of want to trade this, to be honest, too. All right, so they're digging for this sweeper. I have no idea. I mentioned that like right before the raid, like it. Our opponent is said earlier, based on the stream chat, they're 3-0 with the Steam Vents, so it doesn't make any sense to me. Maybe they like have a Steam Vents. Okay, yeah. Maybe they have a Steam Vents that's like they're playing IRL and they want to make it realistic because they don't have a second volcanic or third volcanic. That's true. If Anurag is interested, if he's still on, I'll do a revised deck tech with Anurag anytime he's available, or if he wants to come on my stream. Either way, too. Thank you for the follow, Elevation AV. So, for those of you who joined recently, I just want to go over the deck real quickly. It's mostly what has been doing well for people who have seen my list recently. I know like your top 8 last week's challenge with this list. The difference was he was running he was running my list, but the stock list has only 2 Swords to Plowshares and 2 prismatic endings. For testing purposes today, I'm trying just 4 swords and seeing how that runs. You make yourself a little bit weaker to like Chalice of the Void or what's it called Ensnaring Bridge, but I think swords is the upside is worth testing at least. We'll see how it goes. We're 1-0 now. Thank you for the follow, Beach Toad. Everything else I would say is pretty stock. The main deck looks. There's only one card really that goes in and out of the main deck, and it depends if I want to play Collector Oof main or not. If I don't play a main, like Scavenge Ooze will typically be in this spot, but given that I have 4 swords today, I didn't think I need access to Scavenge Ooze because a line that does come up is like when you glimpse of your deck, you can like swords your own Reclaimer for 3 life, or you can swords a buffed up creature with Shepherd and gain 5 life. Yeah, Ensnaring Bridge I'm not too afraid of, to be honest. Like, um, traditionally how I've beat an Ensnaring Bridge is Archon on Artifact or Archon on Planeswalker. And eventually they just draw it, and then you can just pump your team with, you know, power 1 guys, and then during combat pump. So I'm not too afraid of Ensnaring Bridge, to be honest. Like, there's like random things like Moat that maybe you want a prismatic ending for, but you still have to generate 4 mana with Birch Lore. The sideboard is like pretty stock otherwise. Like, I'm playing a second crop rotation today only because Doomsday players like mulligan real aggressive against me, and if they go turn 1 Dark Ritual Doomsday, I want to have that a second out of crop rotation wasteland your land and you lose a game. So that's kind of the second reasoning for that. It's also good for like surprise wasteland on Tabernacle or Glacial Chasm, sometimes Dark Depths. So it comes up. I'm not playing Caracas because I didn't want to devote 2 slots. But if Depths is like really popular in your metagame, it's definitely an upgrade over Wasteland. Like, you can play both too, for what it's worth, if you want the extra density. The Cabal Pit is like pretty stock. Progenitus beats a lot of like random things. Plague Engineer notably. It also makes it so that you can kill more easily. Speaking of Doomsday, I believe that is what our opponent is on next. So Ethan is a really good Doomsday player. Mulligan. This is like not bad. I'm kind of glad we have the Collector Oof here. Keep. Oops, wrong one. Wrong one. I think here, yeah, we actually probably pitched the Arbiter because this opens up a turn to 3 kill potentially. Yeah, the thing about this list is, unlike the Nettle list, which is a little bit more forgiving. Oh, okay, so they're on oops, unfortunately. I don't think this matchup is winnable with this configuration. We don't have Leyline of the Void. Okay, so they're on actually not Oops, but Pack SI, so the Spanish Inquisition deck. It's makes it a little bit better, but still very difficult in my opinion. We might as well just play the Shepherd. I think. I don't think what we do game one really matters. But oh, I was saying, you in 1980. This deck is not forgiving at all. So like Nettle Sentinel makes it so that you're not gonna fizzle off Glimpse, and essentially you have to be much tighter with your Glimpse lines with this version, as it's much more punishing on mistakes. And I would definitely not play this deck cold with this configuration. I think we're just probably just dead. They're gonna echo here, but I think unfortunately, playing in the middle of a challenge. I know Anurag just came from a challenge. It's often not the best idea, only because there tends to be a lot of combo players when the challenge is going on, because most of the Delver players are playing in the challenge. Ethan usually plays in the challenge for what it's worth, though, but it can make it tough. I don't think what we do really matters here. Like we were banking on the collector oof turn two, but like we can only play what's in our hand now based on the echo. So we're just dead here. They can tutor chain for tendrils. Okay, so they went for the Belcher kill. I guess I can see what's in their deck. That's kind of cool, I guess. I think they were one storm short. Well, actually, they could have tendrils us. But let's see. I think it was four swords better than 3% because of the instant speed. Yeah, I mean the instant speed usually doesn't matter, but it can. The thing about the instant speed too is like it's randomly good against merit lane decks. Um, Thank you for the follow, Pinguster. So they're not on pack, and they have grief. So one thing about these decks that reveal, like either Oops or Doomsday, where they reveal, it's good, kind of good to keep track of numbers. This is only a league, so I don't really care too much about the exact numbers. In a more competitive event, you want to really take notes on like the number of brainstorms, the number of ponders, like they reveal, especially at post Doomsday, for instance. That gives you a hint to the pile that they built. A good exercise is building the pile in your head of given what they've displayed. Of course, that means knowing how Doomsday works, but I think that's like helpful in general. All right, so the deafening silences are good. So are the thought seizes. I don't think we want swords here. It's kind of awkward. They may have plague engineer. I don't know. It's good against that Demi Lich card. I've never actually played against uh, like that card so far. I played against Ethan before, but he hasn't gone for that line, for instance. I don't think Bog is strong because they usually cast Echo immediately after they pitch their hand. Crop rotation gives us speed. Wasteland is actually probably decent, given the low land count. The Lich card, I wonder that. Okay, I need to look up what that does because I don't remember. Uh, So it's like a Dread or Arcanist, I guess. Okay. 34 seconds. We should be okay. Um, I don't think I want to board it. If they have it, they have it. So, actually, what I do like is actually maybe boarding in one Gris, and then if they do have, we have an out. So that sounds good actually. If I don't, I'll make sure to update it today. Actually, I know I've updated the sideboard. I just don't know if I posted on Discord. If somebody will let me know, and if not, that's not a big deal. I'll just check later. But if it's not on Discord, I'll update my sideboard with the oops, shoot, with the new version. Hopefully, it went through. It didn't. Oh, it did. Okay, perfect. Just barely. Nope, can't keep this. Yikes. Alright, man, this is kind of unfortunate. So we'll put the Chris back, and probably the Savannah. Actually, the Heritage is pretty bad, to be honest. Keep. Yeah, I don't think I want the Heritage. So here, I'm gonna fetch first because that actually, you know, increases the number of looks for Once Upon a Time. Cradle's good, at least. Alright, kind of do the math now. If we take the Dark Ritual, they don't have any mana. They can Entomb for Echo, but they don't have, again, they don't have any mana. I feel like it's gotta be the Dark Ritual here. Because if we take the Contract, they can just Yeah, I think it's the Dark Ritual, Jax. I agree. And Jax will know he's a combo player here. I think the Dark Ritual. Because that's +2 mana. It gives them better top decks. Sure. It's unfortunate too because ideally we would have kept one of the reasons to play. Jeez, that's pretty good. One of the reasons to play Once Upon a Time is so you don't have to mulligan as much. So unfortunately yeah, unfortunately we you know hit the wrong side of variance there. It'd be interesting to see. Yeah, Jesus. All right, we're just dead. I think this matchup is not easy. The mistake was actually I didn't. I was thinking about it. I guess they can just Entomb for that is pretty crazy too. Yeah, for instance. I don't think I think taking Dark Ritual is fine. I mean, they just drew out of it, which is it's how you build your deck, right? Like, I know Ethan's a good player, so GG. I can't get mad at that. I'm gonna tell Ethan I streamed. So okay, we're 1-1. I don't mind this loss. We didn't really build our deck to beat a, a turn one deck. Um, like we can beat the traditional storm decks. I think with deafening silence, out of Test or Ant or Doomsday. But when it's if the closer you are on the Belcher scale, I think the harder Elves has a problem with the deck, in my opinion. Okay, we're playing against another Oops player. So yeah, I did mention earlier if you play during the challenges, unfortunately, there tends to be a ton of combo. So maybe not the best idea for me to stream at this hour, but it is what it is. I mean, the fact that they're mulligan really aggressively right now tells me they're on combo. But I think the thing is like most of these combo decks, yeah. The good thing is we do have Reclaimer, so maybe we can steal game one. If they don't have like, we really did, Jax. Unfortunately, yeah, we'll play a Reclaimer and just hope we're not dead. If we untap, we win, but we're probably just dead. But yeah, typically this doesn't happen in challenges, but yeah, when you do play a game, yeah, when you do play during a challenge, play a league during a challenge, this is like kind of frequently happened to me so far, where where what was I gonna say? Where you get paired against a lot of combo during challenges, and we might actually steal this. The ooze would help, but not really a big deal. Like we're winning based on the Reclaimer and just needing a dodge bog here. I think you're right, Jax. I think graveyard decks aren't really that good, even if there is no even if there is no ley lines at the moment. So we could Green Sun for Heritage Druid, but I think we just want to like leave up mana the rest of the game, in my opinion. That goes to that gives us 3 mana and then an untapper, but then we tap out, so it doesn't really work. There's an argument to be made. I should have just Green Sun for Arbor there. That might have been better. All right, there's the heritage we needed. I'm gonna be careful here and like not. I think it should be okay though. We can just glimpse. I'm trying to just end the game with the either this turn or the following turn. Maybe they're conceding. Okay, that probably just ends the game. I don't think they can beat Archon on sorcery. So I'm just gonna do that right now. They could if I draw the bog. so that you can see it. But yeah, Jax is right. Like unless you draw the bog, they can't beat Reclaimer, and that typically that's how you steal game one against Oops. Like they mulligan to like 3 or 4 cards, and you just get lucky. The problem is without ley lines, this matchup is like very difficult. You have to get. I don't think it's personally winnable, but you never know. We can get lucky the way I did game one, and given that we stole game one now, we're gonna play for game three, I think. And one thing that we can do that I've done to Oops players is I mulligan aggressively even though I don't have leyline, and that gives the impression that I do have leyline. And that's one way you can steal games without having leyline in your deck. I'll give you an example of what I do, but don't tell the Oops players I do this, please. Or I guess any graveyard based player. Wasteland is probably fine given their lands. Thank you for the follow, Grim. So what I mean by that is like, yeah, you can mulligan aggressively, quote unquote, and essentially give your opponent the impression you're on leyline even when you're not. It's something I've done, and that has worked. I think I'll just keep this. This is like we're big underdogs in this matchup without leyline. It depends on this configuration, but like graveyard decks aren't popular at the moment, so that's why I don't have any today. This is not getting done. That's not getting it done. Nope. We gotta put 3 back. Probably the Green Sun, really. And oh, you're welcome, Demosian. Congratulations on your first event, by the way. I think here we just put the oof back. That's fine. I agree, Jax. Like the thing is, like sometimes even if you don't, even if you have the turn one Thoughtseize, you probably just want to mulligan anyways, just to give the impression you're on leyline, just to mess with them. Sure. I agree with that, Jax. I think if you're on the play, you just hope for a fast kill. I just leave crop open. I don't think it matters. Like we can't answer the ley line. All right, let's see what they have. The thing, Jonathan's in the house, but the thing about playing at this hour when a challenge is going on is there tends to be a ton of degenerate turn one combo when the because spell combo is pretty much dead in challenges, so they got to play in leagues when the challenge is ongoing, right? They got the Force of Vigors, sure, that's fine. I don't think there's anything like I didn't expect, I guess. I'll just concede now. All right. The NES lands. Oh, maybe the new land version. Um, I don't know. I just played against it actually the other day. You win 1980. I think lands has traditionally been a hard matchup, or at least they're slightly favored. But I think if you have prop rotation, especially in their sideboard, um, I think you can win. I won 2-1 for what it's worth the other day against the Saga version. I just don't think Saga is very good against combo. Period. Like that's my person. Like Saga's insane against fair decks, but I don't think it's good against combo, elf included. Like if they win because of constructs, it's because they've already won, not because of the constructs, in my opinion. Yeah, just run it back. There's an argument to be made. We don't want any glimpses because it makes for awkward sequencing, but I think the upside is just high enough. That's not gonna get it done on the play on mulligan. We want discard or deafening silence, and or deafening silence, for what it's worth. Keep. We're not gonna get to. Well, I feel like we want the deafening silence here. Oh, it's two cards. My mistake. In that case, it's these two. Uh, I think it's not easy for them to be a deafening silence, so I'm just gonna cast that. Cause they could have a redundant hand. Is the problem? Yeah. So I'm glad Jack's stepped in here. He's the expert on oops. So and he's a good Elves player too. So I think I was debating between C's or silence, and I think it's silence is correct, as Jax luckily pointed out. Yeah, so we can fetch for Black Source. This is actually good now. Now we have Reclaimer up. Gotta pass. Regardless, if we win this match here, regardless of how the rest of the stream goes, I already consider it a success. Sure. We're not supposed to be oops without Leyline. We're gonna get a cradle here. They didn't have it game two. We looked on Bad Mess, on Mental Mista. We're not drawing particularly well, unfortunately. We can start pressuring here. Although a very slow clock. So now we have an Archon. I'm not sure if they can beat an Archon. Probably not, to be honest. 3-4. Yeah. So Jack said it. They can't beat an Archons. That should be game. Yep. All right, we did it. This is otherwise supposed to be an unwinnable matchup because we stole game one and got game three. And game two is practically unwinnable. Or the game that they're on to play without Leyline is practically unwinnable. That's true. Crop rotation is unfair. Green got too much this year, right, Jonathan? I will say, I'm pretty stoked, regardless of how the stream ends. We're not supposed to win this matchup without Leyline, and we got pretty lucky to get game one. And I'm glad Jax is here too. Shout out to Jax and Jonathan. They're both part of my Reclaimer, brain trust, and having Jax, point things out from the other side is very useful here for the stream and for myself too. Okay. I do. There apparently are double queuing, but I don't know. I don't know what they're on. I don't recognize this username to be honest. Um, Ideally this is in our deck, but I think the rest is fine to keep. I wonder how does MTG bot know they're double queuing? That would be interesting to know. So we're gonna lead with our weakest elf, given that they're on Delver. I'll remind chat what is unfair here. All right. I think I like keeping the fetch for an arbor, so I'm gonna lead with the basic and go heritage. They can daze if they want. I don't really care. As a general rule, this is actually often the weakest elf. It's just that and the reason being is because it's bad when they have disruption. Um, like getting to 3 elves, like you're probably winning if you're doing that. Bolt, yep, that's fine. Sure. I think given that they only are holding up green, blue, we can go Shepherd into Ranger here. To play around permission. One of the nice things about moving to the white splash is you get a hard cast Archon occasionally now. Before, they run an old school list, which is a little bit awkward for us given that it's actually better because we're playing swords today. But normally prismatic ending is more awkward against like non-stock Delver lists that are not running all one drops. Ideally, we hit a creature here. We get punished for flooding here because we didn't fetch. We were saving the fetch for an arbor, and then we get a little bit punished if we draw more lands. Okay, that's a good draw. This is kind of good now because the next turn we're gonna natural order, and it's gonna be a 1-for-1 essentially, or a 2-for-1 if they have the removal in response to the natural order. And we're not gonna bother attacking here. There's no need. Also, while Jax is on, I don't know if he's still on. Congratulations to Italy for winning the Euro 2020. I've mentioned this to him already, but he's Italian, and since he's my friend, I was rooting for Italy. Something is going on here. Could be that the fact that they're double queuing. That's why they're pausing here on upkeep. I don't know, but it could be a situation where we. All right, I'm not gonna mess around. I think I'm just gonna go for the kill here. We don't need a visionary. All right, that's good. Okay, yes. A little bit awkward there, for sure. It's awkward because normally I would just get the Archon, but can't in this situation. Yeah, unfortunately, like it's just really tilting that they're playing like an old list that happens to be relevant at the moment. We're, it might be a little hard now to win. We shall see. Okay. Not the worst, I guess. That is an excellent draw. Actually, why did I do that? Was that correct? I was at 3, 4, 5. No, that wasn't enough. Yeah, I think I might have screwed that up. I should have been able to cast the Archon there, but probably doesn't hurt us. Yeah, I think it's fine. Yeah, that's fine. Next turn, we're going to have a lot of mana. We probably could have played a little bit better here. We didn't rush. Um, we should have been able to hardcast the Archon there, but I don't think it's going to matter. But we shall see. I don't know why our opponent just did that. They're going to attack with the merge. Yeah, the Regent. That's not going to really matter. We can grist here if in a worst case scenario. But I think I'm just gonna slam Archon. Sure. I don't know why they main like our opponent seems to be having issues with time. I think. Oops. I'm just gonna go ahead and just shut off their outs here. Uh, Probably doesn't matter. I can block one. I'm not sure. Deuce Dub. Like they should be conceding. Like I don't think they can beat on Archon, but we'll see. Yeah. We were a little sloppy there, chat, but we still got there. All right, now we can test how much the Swords to Plowshares improves this matchup, which I think is actually significant. Swords is actually much better than Ending. I mean, Ending can hit random things like Cage, but we're already boarding on natural order, so I don't think that's a big difference. Probably want one crop. The Cabal Pit's good, especially now that they're running Peasy. Cabal Pit not as good against DRC or Regent or it's like and then Ragavan uses block, right? I think that's fine. Bog might not actually be relevant because it doesn't look like they're playing against. We're playing against a stockless. Like I don't know if they're running DRC. They probably are. My guess is they're running Pyromancer instead of Ragavan, maybe for budget reasons. If I didn't have the crop, like leaving in Oof is not the worst. It's still bear at the end of the day. Like we just want to be able to cast our spells on time against Delver. I don't really like Wasteland against Delver. Like you get put into these situations where you're incentivized to Wasteland, and I don't think that really helps what we want to do. I think we just want to clog the board, and then we bleed them out with card advantage. Another reason to split instead of saying four swords, for instance, is meddling mage. You can have like three swords and maybe one prismatic ending. If like meddling mage out of like Espreval is a thing. Oh, thank you, Showen. Yeah, I think Delver is like a pretty good matchup for elves. I think I've seen Delver players say otherwise, but I just question the caliber of opponents that they maybe ran into. Like because I think all things equal, a good elf player will beat a good Delver player. Assuming the Delver player's sideboard is not like 15 cards for elves or whatnot. And of course, you can lose to Delver because sometimes Delver does Delver things. But in general, I think you're pretty favored. Like your game plan lines up well against them. Specifically, Ragavan now, where you can just block, keep, and like the way you lose, in my opinion, is like they're on the play. They go like turn one Delver, um, and then they have like Blazing Volley, like and where you can't really play conservatively, where you have to kind of play into it. Sure. I think the Visionary here is good. I think we want to ramp. Given two visionaries. Yeah, some interesting lines from our opponent. I typically don't agree with the upkeep brainstorm, unless maybe you have two Delver and you really need pressure, but often enough, you have like a 50% chance of hitting, or flipping, I should say. And I think brainstorm is just too valuable not to save for later. We are behind on tempo, so I'm not gonna run a visionary into days here. If they want to like volley us or fork bolt us here, if they have it, they have it. That's not something I want to play around. All right, so they have it. Like I think you're likely to lose if you just get days your visionary days there because like we're already at 13. All right, that's actually a solid draw. Jesus. Days. The reason why I didn't play the fetch there and sequence it the other way is because being at 13 is kind of relevant. Like I don't want to be at 12 because that's one more, less attack I can take. Sure. So that takes them off Murktide. And then we can dig with Once Upon a Time next turn. Getting your... They probably don't have days because they probably would have pitched the days to the Force. But we're trying to buy us another turn by not getting to 9. Hey, Yorg. Good to see you on. Yorg is one of my chat... what's called peers that I consult the deck with. I don't know how he did in the challenge today, but he had been doing well and top 8 at last week's challenge with our reclaimer list. It's times like these where I kind of wish I had the ooze now. Alright, shuffle is good for us. We're at 7 and they've used up 2 bolts and a volley. Like, I don't hate where we're at. We do need to find an answer for the Delver soon. So this is kind of the reason why I bored out Natural Order. Like, just trying to get your Natural Order resolved through days, Force of Negation, and like days and Wasteland is just a tall task to ask. Like, getting to 4 mana is not easy against a Delver deck. I just want live cards all the time. Okay, nice 4-2, York. So here we get to stay at 7, right? That's like kind of the relevant part for me. That's why I didn't want to fetch earlier. It could be the difference between 1 and 2 turns. The thing that's awkward though is at some point we're probably gonna need the Savannah. So we'll see, right? All right, so that's good. Do they have another force? It's either force removal. It can't. Well, it can't be removal because it's redundant. Um, the damage here doesn't matter. I think you don't want. We don't want them to bolt our wirewood during combat and we lose a 1 mana. So I'm gonna proactively once upon a time here first. Well, let me think about that. No, we're gonna draw first. But let's do it this way. Yeah, we're gonna visionary first, and then once. Not what we wanted to see. That's so we have our white source now with reclaimer. It's a matter of drawing the swords now, and it might be the turn before we're dead. So we're going forward here. That is a good draw. That is a good draw. All right. Couple of things here. We can force the green sun through. We can force the green sun through with a shepherd, but I think I'd rather just them play the force. If they have days, we can pay for it, but then that puts us at 3. Is the only thing. In this situation, yeah, that's fine. I can attack with 1. If they want to dash the Ragavan, if potentially outblock. We're not gonna go below 4. Like, there's no reason to. Thanks for the follow, dude. It's Corey. I think it's gonna be very difficult for them to win through this board now. I might be Corey. Especially with the NBA Finals over now. Like, I've been meaning to go out. It's just I've been watching the the NBA playoffs, so that's part of the reason why I haven't been going. I do need to update my deck though, so maybe I'll play Death and Taxes there because I don't actually own the Shepherds yet. Or I can play like old school Anne or something. How you been, man? Good. Oh, congratulations on the wedding, by the way. Not same. I got to work. Okay, I'm not sure what you mean by that, Showen, but ew, that is one card I did not want to mill, but that's okay. Uh, I think we're gonna just slowly bleed them out. Sure, that's fine. That's funny. I think they might have had the force, but then they didn't know what to. They might not have forced the green sun for 3, but hard to say, right? Hey, Elf Kid, how's it going, man? Nice. That's awesome, man. Congratulations on your place in Rancho. I think here. Yeah, probably. I'm trying to think if there's a land I want to get, but probably not, to be honest. There's swords, I guess, but we already have the Grissa too. Like, sure. Grizz is kind of insane. Like it solves a lot of problems for the deck. Namely, you have main deck removal, Elf Kit, and you have like I've also beaten things where like I got to ultimate and like drain them for 5 or whatever for the last few points of damage. Also, I gotta beat like a chasm with it, just random things. Also, against any control deck, it's also what is it called? It's also a tutorable bitter blossom, which is kind of nuts. That can kill hate bears. I mean, this game is already over. Our opponent is playing it out, but like we're like miles ahead. Yeah, it's insane in theory. So here, like I don't. They would have to block the reclaimer and then like bolt one of the dudes. I think. Sure. We're not afraid of anything. Like that's game. Sure. Nice. The full value plus here. We did it for the first time on stream. We gotta make two dudes with the Warwitz symbiote being milled. All right. Our 2-0 against Delver. We didn't even draw any of our swords, which is kind of funny, but it is what it is. Like. All right, so we are 2-0 to the. Actually, we're like 4-0 against Delver. You talk just games, but we beat Oops like on a miracle, and then we lost to Spanish Inquisition, which I don't think is a very good matchup for us. I'm actually 1 second. I'm gonna cancel this. I'm gonna take a quick break to get water. I'll be back in a minute, and just to use the restroom as we try to finish out this 4-1, hopefully. All right, thank you for your patience. I am back. Fix the. Okay, so Elfkin has a question. I assume we did not fix that Doomsday matchup. So Ethan was actually on Spanish Inquisition. I think our Doomsday matchup is okay. Especially like swords actually helps too because it's another thing they need to think about. But I don't think we're favored for sure. Okay, so this is Reanimator. Like now we're really missing those ley lines. I mean, Reclaimer's nice though. I will say. Are we on the play? We are not on the play, unfortunately. I think this is a keep regardless. I think only like, I think only inexperienced Doomsday players will lose to Endurance out of non-blue decks. Like I've cast Endurance exactly 3 times against Doomsday, and I lost all 3 games for what it's worth. Yeah, I'm gonna like in general. I assume my opponent knows what they're doing. Like I said, I mentioned this before, but I've cast Endurance. This is when Endurance first came out. I cast Endurance 3 times against Doomsday, and I lost all 3 games. So I know the sample size is small, but I don't think it's very good. Like out of a non-blue deck at least. I'm sure it's better out of like band control because they actually have to respect force, right? Like which we don't have. Um, I think here we might as well just get the Bayou and then get the Reclaimer up. Well, actually, hold on. Cancel. Uh, they have a Chancellor proc up, so I think we just ping it. No. Like, I want to get the Reclaimer. Oh, Jesus. Down. I think we're just dead. Yeah, so my theory is kind of being proven correct here, unfortunately. Where when you play against, sorry, when you play during a challenge, you're just gonna run into non-stop combo. I think this is gonna be very difficult for us, given no ley line. Deafening silence is not really that good against Reanimator, in my opinion. It buys a turn, but then the problem is the turn is often not enough. Given that the turn is in the beginning of the game. We technically can come back, but I think it's unlikely. I'll just see what we draw, and then otherwise I'll just concede. I've actually beaten Gristlebrand before, but I just don't think it's like reasonable here. Oh, actually, some people like to go for the Sarah Emissary, so maybe I'll just leave that in. Oof isn't particularly good in my opinion. Swords is kind of interesting. Like, I feel like I'm just gonna bring it in and hope to cheese them. Like, if they go for the Sarah Emissary, I think it's called, just like get them with swords. So, I mean, if you're lucky, maybe you can get a Gristle Brown with it too, but probably not. I think this is fine. Yeah, here we kind of have to get lucky to beat. We have to get kind of lucky to beat them with that ley line. It's possible, but a little bit harder here, given that we don't have more crop rotations. Our opponent has disconnected. Probably issues with lag. I would guess. I don't know. While we wait to see if our opponent reconnects, does anybody have? Yeah. So initially, Elf Kid, like out of Modern Horizons, I was a little bit optimistic because I knew Grist was going to be good for sure. And if we were still playing, more two Bayous instead of one and running black removal, I probably run the second Grist in the sideboard. But um, when it became obvious to me endurance is not like what I want to play, uh, I felt like the deck had to keep up, and in order to do that, like I don't think Grist by itself is enough to keep up with the other decks in Legacy. So I actually changed the deck to play white removal. Namely, I tested Prismatic Ending first, 4 copies, and it turns out one mana removal that's flexible is really good. Yeah, I don't think Endurance is good personally, Elf Kid. Like what does it beat? Like if I want yard hate, I would rather play Leyline of the Void, and it's like okay against Delver, but I don't think it actually beats the graveyard decks or it beats in Doomsday. So really, only helps against Delver, and if it's only against Delver, I'd rather just play more removal instead of a 3 drop. Okay, so they join the game. I think this is fine. Snapkeep makes them think we're potentially on lane line for what it's worth. So it boils down to based on the testing I did the first week, I was not convinced that Endurance actually beats Graveyard decks or Doomsday. Like I lost enough games to the respective matchups to make me think that good Graveyard players and good Doomsday players can beat it easily. Like, and if it's not gonna do that, then I'd rather play better removal for Delver, since it's okay against Delver, admittedly. There's been times where like I can fog a Merit Lage for a turn where that's relevant, but that's typically only out of lands. Out of the Turbo Depths or like the Green White Depths version, they have Sujiri Stip, so like that's not really consistent. Our opponent is taking quite the time. What was I gonna say? Oh, so and then I found out that Murktide is one way Delver can still steal games against you. So that's actually why I split to a 2-2 prismatic ending Swords to Plowshares split. And then today for our stream, I was just testing for swords. Murktide's actually good. I think it's actually against elves worse than the whale. I think I'm more scared of the whale personally than I am with Murktide. So I'm actually kind of happy that they're playing the Murktide right now. I mean, yeah, they said the same thing about the whale, and I think the whale's Forger is actually really insane against elves. So if you want to slant your Delver list to beat elves, I personally think whale is better than Murktide, but Murktide's better in other matchups, specifically the mirror. Like it doesn't die to bolt, which is important. Yeah, I don't know about that. Tombstalker, I don't think is particularly playable anymore. But yeah, that's kind of how I arrived at the list today. It's like a pretty stock list, I will say. Like I won the trophy race last season with this on my other account, Scooby Loo. But more or less, I played this list and it was just kind of insane. One mana removal to keep it with Delver is kind of what you need at this point. Um, Decay, although it's flexible, it's just worse in my opinion than Prismatic Ending. All right, so hopefully we don't get turn one here, and then if we untap, we probably win. Okay, it looks like we're getting turn one. It's kind of crazy that they don't respect Leyline, but you know. All right, we're just probably just dead here. One of the ways we can steal this game is if they overdraw. Hmm. I think we have to do this now. Can't let the Chancellor in. So this is kind of interesting. It makes it so that they can't draw here. Maybe I mean they weren't. They shouldn't anyways. But I'm trying to think what our route to victory here is. If they didn't go for the entomb line, I was gonna get a cradle. They kind of forced our hand. Like I think we just lose there if they hit Chancellor out. Unfortunately, Chancellor has, let's see, 5 power. So yeah, we were at 12 at the moment. Ooh, so close. Huh. We get a Queen Ranger, and then we bounce play another one. That is actually a dangerous draw for them. Like, if they whiff and we draw a fetch, they lose. I mean, they could be playing around natural order, I guess, but like that wasn't consistent with their previous turn. Like, if they were to draw, they should probably draw on last turn instead, and then because it doesn't seem consistent to me what they're doing. Like here, they put themselves into danger of dying, whereas the previous turn they did not. Or probably just dead, to be honest. Like we need natural order off the top. Not to mention shields are down already. Okay, so they're playing this show and tell list with the Underground Sea. My guess, if they have the Sarah Emissary, they should be getting that. I don't know. Maybe they're playing on the Sword of Plowshares. I mean, they shouldn't be, but in general, I played against like Eric Landon, for instance, and Eric Landon will go for the Sarah Emissary immediately. Granted, I didn't have the swords at the time. or the Grist in. In hindsight, being not in is probably a mistake. Sacrifice a creature, sure. Yep, I think we're just gonna 3-2 this league. Kind of unfortunate. We ran into two graveyard decks. Well, three if you count Spanish Inquisition, and then we didn't have the ley lines. We still went 3-2 though, so not the end of the world. And I don't. I actually think, like I said, being oops is already a pretty big accomplishment. Uh, I don't think there's an out, but let's see. Yep, now we're dead. All right, so we went 3-2 in this league. Probably run it back. I did think we hit like kind of unfortunate matches, but maybe that's what we expect playing at this hour. Like I think the challenge is still going on if I am correct. Yeah, like Leyline makes a big difference against these decks, and I mean, from what I can tell, like graveyard decks aren't super popular, at least in the challenges. And then, I mean, in leagues like Eric Landon is, playing again, so maybe that's why they're popular in leagues. But I just don't think the graveyard decks like have been really putting up results at the big level for me to worry about it. Also, I think it's also variance that we ran into three graveyard decks in one league. Usually, at most, like maybe one. Um, yeah, let's run it back. Yeah, I think like we did beat Delver, and then actually 1 second. I just realized I need to take my dog out to use the restroom and to feed him lunch. So I'll be back in like 4 to 5 minutes. Sorry about that, chat. I just realized that right now. All right. Thank you for waiting. My dog is now happy. Let's see if we can. We're playing against my buddy Eddie Zamora. This is a mulligan. Only one land. He's on humans for sure. I might as well do this right now in response. I think Shepherd because it's a win con. We don't have any action otherwise. Thalia? No, Thalia's lieutenant. I suspect Eddie's gonna wasteland me as after I use the reclaimer to get an arbor. I'm gonna leave the cradle because I'd rather he waste the cradle than the arbor. All right. Here we can start. Well, not really attacking it, but if we let's see. And then I think we want to just get another arbor here. So that's got to be on actual order. And then it's gonna pump their guys, but then the problem is now I can block with the reclaimer, so they have to tap down mom. Maybe it's worth it. Like depends. Yeah. See, so Eddie's forcing 3 damage in, which is gotta get through somehow. Hmm. Actually, that was a mistake. I should have bashed. Yeah, that was a mistake. I could have bashed for 15 there. Might cost me actually. Well, we shall see. think maybe he saw the writing on the wall. I can start attacking now. I don't know what the next. Okay, so that's game anyways. Bajuka Bog not at one of the few matchups where these Aether Vial decks where Bajuka Bog doesn't really do its doesn't really have value. I think Sword is actually ironically really good here now. Okay, so I mentioned that before L4. I clicked it too fast and I regretted it immediately. We should have done that. So that was a correct move. We didn't get punished, but it could have been the difference, depending on their draws. But good question. We just clicked too fast. Is the long story short. Like I just didn't think about it. Uh, I th- I don't think we want collector oof. The rest is probably fine. Wish we could have had another land here, but otherwise they're like really good. It's almost like a Model 6 because we're not going to fetch a basic against a Wasteland deck here. Sorry, we're not going to fetch the Savannah here. Sure. But this Virtual 6 is actually very good. And now it's actually Virtual 7 again. Because of the Virtual R. For those of you who just joined us, we went 3-2 in the first league. We played against, we beat two Delver decks. We beat Oops somehow without Leyline, and then we lost to Reanimator without Leyline, and we lost to Spanish Inquisition. We didn't really hit a good matchup spread for what it's worth. We ran into Graveyard decks without Leyline the Void, which is kind of tough. That might be on a glimpse. Could be natural order. Yeah. We're almost never blocking for whatever it's worth. Eddie sometimes has Mindbreak Trap, so it's something to keep in mind. I generally don't play on that card though. Like unless I absolutely can. Oh jeez. Okay. That was probably the worst possible draw we could have had. And here, I think we're gonna protect our creatures with the Wirewood. Solitude's interesting. They essentially pitched a card to be up a mana on us. I don't think we care. We're gonna go to 11. That's fine. Here, I think I'm gonna just preemptively generate more mana. I think. Yeah, we could have played the sword transiently, but I think I'm gonna save it. Um, Probably just pass, to be honest. Sure. Wait, one? Okay. Oh, because the natural order is okay. Sure. I was expecting four, but not naming four is correct because of natural order. Two normally if they think I'm decay, but one means he's respecting the new white build. So far today, we're 4-2 so far. We beat all the matches we were supposed to, and actually beat one matchup we weren't supposed to. Namely, oops without Leyline. I do think, yeah, we're not favored at all. Definitely against like anything trying to go off turn one. So at least on paper, without Leyline, Reanimator, and Spanish Inquisition is also very difficult. We haven't run into any control decks yet, which is a little bit strange. Anybody who plays a lot of control here, if they could chime in, how is your current matchup against Delver? I've heard varying things. I know Anurag thinks Control has a good Delver matchup, and I trust what Anurag says. But this was also a while ago, so maybe things have changed. Anybody who was from his stream earlier wants to weigh in, they can too. Punishing Waterfalls. Ugh, this hand is kind of awkward. I'm tempted to mold this hand. Two Cradles, that's like kind of like a half mole. Two Once Upon a Time, that's kind of like a mole as well. Do you notice a shift in the decks you face while playing? Yes, I do. Rumcore, definitely. The normal time zone that I play in, which is like weekdays during like around my time zone, which is like Pacific, 7 to 10 roughly. Jeez. Okay. Um, Typically around those times, hmm, that is interesting. There's a lot of combo. I'm saving this for an arbor in case it wasn't obvious. Uh, they're on Cloud Post with Spear Resistance. I think I've played against this deck before, and I think they have Wasteland. So I'm gonna go ahead and well, we have a Reclaimer. I think a Grist might be useful actually. Like our Glimpse is like really bad now because of the Sphere Resistance, and I'm just gonna fetch basics here. Yeah, I played against them before. Wait, what? Oh, it's two more. Okay. Um, I guess we'll do it this way. Yeah, I think in EU, I feel like it's a little bit more fair, but it's hard to say. Like the time where I played, which is like America, West Coast at night, is a lot of combo. Yeah, so they probably have waste. I mean, they have crucibles. So they have wasteland for sure. Sure. This might be lethal, but I don't know. Mm, so here, let me think. That's three, four, five. That's six. Yeah. Three, four, five, six for natural order. I can get an Archon named Artifact right now. That's probably pretty good. And I guess I would probably pitch the Reclaimer. The thing is, if I get Wasteland out here, that's kind of bad, but probably okay too. I think I take the damage. I don't know if they have an out to this. Like I don't know their exact build, but if they, it's a high like high risk, no, it's a medium risk, high reward play. Like it seems like they're playing a more control shells. I kind of doubt that they have Eldrazi. That's kind of annoying though. Let's see if they can do that now. This is 3, 6, 7, 8. No, they cannot yet. So they can only do it a few turns from here. I guess Blasphemy is their out. I wasn't expecting that, but it's good to know for future reference. Okay, that's good. Let's see how much is this. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Might be exact. Yeah, that should be game. I know. I think they've 5-0'd with this list before. It's like a very prisonist deck. This on Artifact seemed pretty good. Blast Zone's kind of annoying. I feel like we probably still want it though. Like, give it shuts down almost all their deck, and they have to have the exact out. Bog, like maybe they have a Crucible lock on us, but probably not to be honest. I don't. I think that's too slow, and I think this is too slow. So I think I don't even know what creatures they have. We saw a low zone go. It's possible they have Thought Knots here, so I probably want the Source of Plowshares. Wasteland seems pretty good. Like, I feel like they had Tabernacle. We're not gonna like play around the naturally drawn Crucible. Crop rotation, probably pretty decent to be honest for speed. Um, I think we do run court. I think I played against them before, and we I think just want to race. To be honest, uh, Visionary is not probably the best either. I think I want a mix, and I think two Visionary is nice because they could have Chalice of the Void. Um, I think the rest is fine. I don't know their exact list. If I care enough, I like would look it up or whatnot. But I'm guessing that they have creatures. Otherwise, I would not bring the swords. You're right, Runcore. I should have brought in the Wasteland. Was not thinking about that. We can do it in the next game. Um, I think here probably just the hair just bad. Sure. So I'm fetching here for. Hopefully not. We'll see. We shall see. Unfortunately, it locks our swords out though, but it is what it is. Oh my goodness. They had it. Well. Oh man, that's kind of brutal. Yeah, good thing. Here is a case where, oof, the hand just got worse. The if we were playing prismatic ending, it'd be a lot better for us. Um, our opponent needs to be away for a little bit. They just said their wife needs help with the kid, so um, we might be in for a little bit of a wait here. Um, yeah, I guess while we're waiting, does anybody have any questions? I guess you want to ask me at the moment. Yeah, I appreciate Runcore you posting your videos. By the way, I haven't got a chance personally to take a look at your videos, but I'm sure anybody who's looking for more content appreciates that. And yeah, anybody who wants to post like their reclaimer videos, or even just like whatever relevant content is more than welcome to in my Discord. The only thing I ask is I've divided to a media content section and a discussion section. So ideally, just the content goes into the content section, and ideally only like links that will be there for a while. So like YouTube links are preferred. Because Twitch, I know after a month or so it goes away. Yeah. So part of the reason why I started with four prismatic ending is because I'm afraid of running into these chalice decks. All good, run court. Like I definitely know that I um was struggling with narrating slash providing commentary initially too, and even now, like I when I play, I definitely play worse when I'm streaming. But you know, it's good for the community, and even if you don't play perfectly, there's a lot of people can learn from it, especially with elves where little mistakes are magnified. I know what doesn't get talked about enough is when you make mistakes on like turn 1 through 3, and then you lose on game 10. Usually you can trace it back like pretty far, and um, the game wasn't really lost like because your opponent top deck. The game was really lost because we made a mistake early on, and our deck is less forgiving than say like Delver, which then the reason being is because our board development is kind of exponential, so any little mistake is magnified. Um, the board development of Delver is more linear, and they try to keep it in the early stages of the game with Days and Wasteland. So that's the other reason. Yeah, definitely. When you make mistakes that are like misclicks, those can be frustrating. Or things like if you've been in if you have a tough decision and make, have to make a call that can be like 50-50 or even like 60-40. That's a good learning lesson, but the tough mistakes are just ones that are unforced, definitely. Yeah, kind of wish I had the prismatic ending here, but I'm not sure it would have mattered. This hand's kind of bad. Like we've drawn kind of poorly. Yeah, I might share a little bit of the red list. So I've talked about this a little bit on my Discord that I've been working on this list. The long story short is you really only have room, in my opinion, for three colors. So green and black are kind of etched in stone. Only because I don't think you can be combo without black. Like I guess there's blue, but blue doesn't play very well with our deck, in my opinion, because this deck wants to tap out, and the black is kind of like discard for a combo. But the red list, there's some benefits. Namely, you can play Cabal Pit instead of sorry, not Cabal Pit, Barbarian Ring instead of Cabal Pit, because if your removal is in red, for instance, uh, naturally drawing a Barbarian Ring is better than Cabal Pit, which here the removal is in white, so it's a little more awkward. Secondly, Barbarian Ring has some niche applications, like you can hit planeswalkers or deal the last two damage with it. Doesn't come up much, but can. But the main thing is if you play red removal, like Pyroblast, for instance, you can not only still have removal against Delver like Murktide region, but it also helps against the harder matchup like Show and Tell, where Red Blast and REB is just kind of insane against Show and Tell, and even against Doomsday or Ant or Test. Uh, it, it's better. It's another card you can board in, whereas before you can't board in like Source of Plowshares, for instance, or not Defying Size, but what am I thinking of? Prismatic Ending, right? Swords is better actually against the Merit Lage decks for what it's worth, so there's that trade off too. Um, but against the spell based decks, Red Blast giving you like some number of cards you can bring in. I do like maxing flexibility. That is a good observation. So apparently our opponent has a kid that's 5 years old. Um, my only comment is, I wonder if she should be helping his wife take care of the kid then, if that's the case. Yeah, Mirror Entity used to be really good. For a while, I wanted a color shifted version. Problem is, I don't think it's aged very well, so I'm not even sure a color shifted Mirror Entity in green would even matter anymore. Like, this is like, I mean, we've got so many cards for the deck now. Like, sure, we've got so many cards for the deck now that I'm not sure Mirror Entity is just good enough. Yeah, I'm not. Ever since Natural Order plus Huff was incorporated, I've never really been a fan of Chaos. The problem is, against certain decks, you kind of need Natural Order, in my opinion. So we're just dead here. Like against Storm, for instance, like it's not fast enough, in my opinion. You want to be able also to win off limited resources. So Natural Aura means that you can beat removal dot deck. I think we do want the. We actually no, we boarded in the Wasteland, Runcore. I thought we didn't, but we did. Uh, Swords didn't feel too good here. I'm gonna board it out. Yeah, maybe we can grind them partially. We have extra removal. We can tutor for if need be. And then we'll. I think Wirewood is actually slow, so I'm gonna board it out. I'll take a look at it in a bit, Runcore. Maybe after this match. Oops. So we can do that. And I think maybe 2 STP instead of the full 4. Actually, I don't even know if we want this. Probably not, to be honest. It's bad against Chalice. Oops. Oh, actually, no. Archon's fine. Yikes. So here, if we hit a land, we can Green Sun for 0, but I think this being our hand is kind of bad. I'm gonna mulligan. Yeah, that's good, Runcore. Yeah, I think this is better. I did not like the other hand. Because the thing about the other hand is like you can just lose if you whiff off the once, first of all. And I typically take the risk if I think the rest of the hand is worth it. I just didn't think it was worth it there. Um, the Arbor is like kind of bad. Thanks for the follow, Toad Horse. I don't know if that's I'm pronouncing it correctly or not, but sure. Yeah, the thing is like against these wasteland decks, like you might not. like be able to be in the game, so to speak. If they wasteland us here, it's kind of bad, but I don't think we can play around it. Yikes. Really? My goodness. Alright, and we might just be dead now because we. Kind of my. Well, if they sequence it the other way, like we might be in trouble anyways, to be honest. If they needled us before the wasteland. Oh man, this is not good. Hmm. Nah, that's too risky, I think. We could play a one drop here. I feel like crop might just be better, or leaving up crop. We get a little bit punished if they draw another wasteland, but if they had another wasteland, they would have played it already. So I kind of hope they make a construct here, because that means they probably don't have anything in their hand. If they don't make a construct, they probably have a play to make. We can just like 10 ball them like out of nowhere too if we draw the right cards, because a crop rotation represents a cradle. The other thing we can do here is depending what they do, we have a line. If they don't have a land, we can just. Oh, interesting. I did not expect that. Holy shoot. Okay. Um, Man, that is quite annoying. Actually, I should have. That was a mistake. Hmm. I'm gonna let this die. No. Like if they draw a wasteland, the problem is they wasteland a cradle, and then we're just in the same spot. I'm just gonna like pass. Make them pay for theirs first. The dream play here is them trying to waste us, and then we crop in response to hit the tabernacle. The good thing is they might not be able to cast their spells either. Like, given this board state. But we'll see. We need a Fade a Wasteland for a turn. But I want to put pressure. I think they were trying to cast Low Stoke Golem. 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. Tangle Wire. So I have to tap 4. I probably hit the Tabernacle. Well, it's tough because of the Blast Zone too. Okay, so this is a tough decision. Yeah, not. I mean, it is what it is, right? Like, no. Well, actually, I messed that up. God, I was supposed to tap first and then, yeah. Yeah, I that was a screw up. I was supposed to tap my land for mana and then allow the thing to tap down. Um, and then I could have my reclaimer still, which is actually very relevant. It actually could be the difference now, which is unfortunate. Yeah, see, I could have attacked there for 1. Unfortunate. Yeah, we're not gonna win this. We had three taxes to get through and a Richard import, so probably not. We probably win that game if I floated the mana. Yeah, Fenris Cloud always plays Infect, like in every format. Leagues are just all over the place for whatever it's worth. Like, we have a natural order here, but we lose to Daze or Force. I think we wait a turn. The thing is, the Once Upon a Time could have given us a Shepherd too. Brutal. Swords is actually really good in this matchup. So is Cabal Pit. Yeah, it's just brutal. We lost the last game, which I punted, and then this one here, it's hard to say. Like, this is probably a mole. I think it was correct not to run the natural order into Daze and Force. Our removal is in white, so that's why we're getting the Savannah. Brainstorm. Yep. So we do have the turn three natural order here. We could have had the. It's just debatable, I think, whether to go for the natural order on turn two there. I think it's probably not correct, given that we had the Once Upon a Time. I think if I did not, I probably would go for it. Force. Yeah. One of the few people still playing Spell Pierce. Unfortunately, the thing is, with Force the Negation, blue players have it kind of easy now. You just tap out. You don't have to. There's no sub game of soft permission anymore, which I think is unfortunate because I think that's more skill testing in my opinion. I uh, I think a stack battle with Spell Pierce and um, Flusterstorm is more interesting for Legacy. This hand is actually really good if we hit a land. We have a fast clock. Um, we have mana. There's one land, so this can be Cradle now if we hit it. Here we're definitely taking the land. It's just which one. It's probably we're gonna shuffle anyways, but I think it's probably correct to thin out here. Wow. Okay. Um, we can lead with the glimpse, but I think here we're incentivized to just go protected with Shepherd. We cost ourselves a draw, but I think it's fine. This is kind of really nice if we can do this line. We actually have a wasteland activation up that's protected. And if they go for the kill, we wait for them to commit, and then we're gonna blow them out with the wasteland. Sure. Doesn't work that way. Yeah. So the thing about playing against Infect is you let them commit to it and not play scared. So typically a rule of thumb, you play the removal on end step. So you let them activate their Ink Moth, if they don't pump, you let the damage go through, and then you kill it on end step. Like, and if they want to respond, then they have to waste the removal spell or counter spell on the end step, and you don't get blown out. We should really be 3-0 right here. I mean, granted, it's possible they can still win here, but kicking myself a little bit for punting that match too. Oh, we're running into Toad Horse, who we queued against earlier or followed us earlier. Don't snipe. Appreciate that, Toad Horse. Yeah, I'll keep this. I don't know what they're on, but I think they were on combo last time I played, but I could be wrong. Oh, alright. Just click OK. Took a land. And well, this might be relevant later on, so. I think they're on Omni, but I could be wrong. So the thing about making mistakes too is like, oh, I think about unban control actually. Yeah. It's very important that you catch your own mistakes, especially as they're happening. Um, well, let's do it. If I do a ranger here, that kind of opens up a line next turn if they don't have removal. They probably do, but I think we're playing for the upside here. Visionary would be safe, but this generates way more mana. We untap with it. Swords? Ooh. Ooh. Okay. I'm gonna fire out the glimpse here for value. Our opponent needs to, well, they could set up Terminus, but then this plays around Terminus a little bit here. Force maybe? Alright, we can get more value by bouncing stuff. Oops. We're hoping to draw into a Birch Lore or Heritage here for more mana. Actually, hold on. We can just actually hedge against Terminus here by doing this. I'm almost certain they have Terminus, but nothing we can do. Yep. Oh, they don't. Oh, that's good for us. I didn't want to actually burn the green sun for a what is it called? For a heritage there because we were expecting Terminus on top. Instead, now we just got like decent value out of the glimpse, and I think we're in a decent spot. What we're gonna do here is we're gonna lead with Gris, Natural Order, and Craterhoof, and that should be each one should threaten a force, or should pull out a force. Green Sun actually can get either a Waterwood or a Shepherd too. Wow. Okay. Let me think. There's a couple ways we can go with this. Let's actually cast the Gris first. Actually, no. We can actually just lead with the Glimpse. Yeah, we can, because the Gris actually triggers it. We might as well. Mm, yeah, Gris is phenomenal. Here, I think we just run everything, and I don't think we really care if they have a ice whatever blocker, whatever. Actually, they don't even represent blue here. The only they have to respect the Shepherd activation here, so we might as well bounce our Visionary. There's no reason not to. And then we're just gonna force the hand. Yeah, so they're hoping to hit the random miracle trigger off the draw. Cabal pits for like hate bears. I still like Thoughtseize. I know some people with this ban list like Swords or Prismatic Ending, but I still think it's pretty good. Heritage Druid is like really bad against a Terminus deck. We don't want to be overextending. Collector Ood is likewise bad. I think we can keep one Heritage in with this configuration, just in case we need the mana. I do need to use the restroom real quickly, so I'll be right back in 30 seconds. Thank you for waiting. This is like fine. We're just gonna yield priority. So they have a hull breacher. That's something to keep in mind. I think here we want to hit land drop, so I'm not gonna fetch first. That's fine. Dress down, ponder. So dress down is kind of annoying. Ponder, like, can find them actually relevant cards. I don't think they can just afford to leave up. Well, that's not true, I guess. They can just Euro and then leave dress down later. Probably just take the dress down so that they can't deal with like Progenitus or whatnot later on. They can also deny us a draw. Yeah, it's dress down or ponder. And we definitely don't take the Euro. And I don't think we care about endurance. Endurance is kind of bad against us, in my opinion. The thing about dress down is like at minimum, it can stop a visionary draw, which is annoying. So I think that's why I took that. It's debatable. We should have played the reclaimer actually. Sure. The thing is, they get to potentially escape Euro now, which is problematic. They might not have a better play too, but this also it's also scary because you leave yourself exposed, right? Like if you just tap out for Euro and the elf player has like 4 cards in hand, like that's how I know they're not sniping because if they were, they would have slammed down Euro, like for instance. Sure. So I really appreciate that from our opponent. Like it's dangerous to just tap out for Euro with no force backup. Uh oh. They might be looking for the removal because I think they don't want us to bog the Euro. Alright, so we gotta safely untap now. So I'm doing it here because in the event that they want to, in case they draw the terminus naturally, that I can pitch away the arbor. All right, so they shuffled everything back in, which I think is fine. One of the ways we lose this is with an escape euro, and I think I like where we're in, the spot we're in at the moment. Wow, okay. Now there's, like, I was gonna wait another turn, or depending what we drew, but now there's no waiting. Natural order here doesn't kill them, so we want to draw more. Oh, this is a really good draw. The thing about Wirewood in these sequences is it's almost like a draw two, because you bounce your one drop too, right? Like, all right. Ooh, that's a timely terminus. Actually, this is not kind of nice. So we actually get a free Once Upon a Time out of this. We definitely don't want. We want the hoof in our deck. All right. So visionary first. That's good. We can kind of spew our hand now, which is nice. I think. Okay. And then we just pass turn. Sure. All right. So we have the kill. I guess we can do this properly. GG's. Also, I want to thank our opponent for signing off, like not sniping us. Like it was very obvious that they were in our chat stream, and then based on the gameplay, like there was a moment earlier that if they knew what was really in our hand, they would have played the Euro. But the correct play or the safe play is with the board state like that, you gotta expect natural orders coming, and they definitely dug for the force of will. One more to go. So let's see how we finish it off. While that's loading, I'm gonna get quick water. Yeah, definitely good sportsmanship. Like it was it was definitely obvious that they did not know our hand because if they did, I believe the line would have been different. Like it's correct in most cases, I think, to dig for force there. Uh, Toach Horse kind of flooded out there. Like we saw, like their remaining card from the Thoughtseize was a land, and they already had 5 or 6 lands in play. I don't remember exactly, but kind of a brutal hand, and we drew pretty well. Like to be fair, and I will say too, the Elves versus Bant matchup. I feel pretty good about it in general. I don't think it's easy for Bant because you're relying on Terminus, and if you don't hit it early, I believe the matchup can get hard. It helps a lot if you can blind or hit it off Ponder or Brainstorm within the first 2 3 turns of the game because that buys a lot of time. Otherwise, you're under a lot of pressure. So we're guaranteed to at least finish, above average already. Nope. Yikes! More to 5. Okay. So not that. I think probably just want like you can do stuff with this, right? The good thing about this is, oof, a little bit punished. I think we can wait a turn because if you glimpse here and they daze, then it's pretty bad. And I think we run out this Shepherd because we want to check. It's a force check essentially. Or even like you glimpse and then they have a force or something. It's like our glimpse just got a lot worse, for instance. Oh, they're on. They could be on Omni. Actually, not. They should play basic snow covered force because then that means I know they don't have Ice Fang now. I know like little things like that people won't do, but it's just free information for your opponent. Sure, I guess. I kind of like this because Abundant Growth tells me that they're on a fair deck or likely a fair deck. That second glimpse, waiting a turn actually ended up working out really well here. So I'm gonna go ahead and bounce because I want more mana. So the thing about Korean Ranger and why I like the one in the deck is it's almost like a pseudo Neto Senno for when I want that effect. So here I'm gonna save the fetch. Yeah, it's gonna be really difficult. Like, I'm assuming our phone is on a fair deck. It's gonna be difficult. Like when we've essentially like quadrupled, or like we've like triple ancestral recall already. Abundant growth. Like I'm guessing some kind of bat like control deck. So I'll board accordingly. I still like Thoughtseize. Like information in general in Magic. Like it's why I think Git Probe was just kind of obnoxious because you should have to pay mana to know somebody's hand. And I know that there's this adage that oh, in Legacy you know what your opponent is playing already on turn one, but you may have an idea, but like the certainty is like a big issue. And also there's ways to disguise it, especially if you're a blue deck. I think that's fine. So hopefully we can clean this out, and then we'll finish this on a pretty high note, like 4-1. Yeah, that like it's just the information is just insane with Pyromancer. Yeah, you just mind twist people with Cabal Therapy too, right? Like I don't think it's a coincidence that Cabal Therapy has seen less and less play um, now that Git Probe is banned. Yeah, well, the new turn one, turn two good game is like turn one Ragavan, turn two Days, right? Or I guess their turn one. Mostly for fair decks. Creature decks can block, but still can be pretty effective even against creature decks. Ragavan. Elves happens to be one of the matchups that lines up well against Ragavan. Yeah, the thing is like if we finish strong here, this is fine. Uh, I'll be pretty happy too because I could have easily tilted from the misplay earlier. But one thing that helps a lot is keeping your composure when you make mistakes because nobody plays perfect. And somebody once told me that yeah, I saw that. I think partially too because I was on stream with him last week and I talked to him sometimes. But um, I played a red list with Ragavan. I'm not gonna talk too much about it. It's actually decent. But what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, keeping your composure is just a big deal because you don't want. Somebody once told me like you don't want past loss to affect future wins and be turned into future losses. Water was the take here. Don't worry. Ragavan didn't make the list. Runcore. It was actually decent. I'm just not playing it because in my experimentation because you don't actually need it. The mana gets a little worse too. I don't like having to fetch Taiga game one. So there's that, right? Like, you won't have to worry about Ragavan being in an elf list unless it's like me playing for fun. I don't think it's optimal. It actually wasn't bad though, which is a scary thing. All right. I want to go turn to Waterwood into Visionary. It's a lot of lands, unfortunately. They could have Containment Priest here, but I don't think I'm playing around that. Like, and if they do, I just bounce it. I think Urza is a problem because, like, it's kind of the best thing to do, fair thing to do in blue. The Ragavan Urza deck is pretty solid. Yeah, Dress Down is a card that I know bank players are playing now because of the what's it called? Implications. it kills all the constructs. And I know the thing about Saga is it makes games more oriented about around fair decks, and it just forces blue. It stretches control decks really thin, unfortunately for them. I actually like it when control decks are good, but control decks can't beat everything. Is the problem. So they should be fetching, yeah, to cast the Terminus. It's only 1 for 1, but it does set us back a little bit on tempo. In general, I'm okay with this happening. So our next line is gonna be we're gonna play a Reclaimer into Arbor into Visionary, and then see how they respond. I don't like combo decks having blockers pressure early turn thanks to Urza. Um, I mean, lands isn't really it's not the reason why you win or lose, in my opinion. Or like Urza, in my opinion, is kind of bad against combo decks like us. Admittedly, a little better than us than show and tell, but um, I just don't think it's good against combo decks in general because it's too slow for the most part. I think we just do this. I want to develop the board. If they have another like sweep, then so be it. Yeah, they might. Three basics is a little scary though. Like I don't want to get back to basics here. A card that I don't actually don't think is good against me, but people always try it. Sure, that actually is a good sign. My experience getting the show and tell player is fast. Yeah, that's probably true. This Thoughtseize is gonna be really handy right here, and like we've already +1 ramped, and I thought the risk was worth the I guess the juice is worth the squeeze, right? Because here now we can cast Natural Order with Thoughtseize protection. This is why I think Progenitus is just too good not to play because you want to be able to win off limited resources. Hoof here actually takes them to 2, but well, so let me think. It depends what we see with the Thoughtseize too, right? So they prismatic the Reclaimer, and then on their turn they let's see, they cast Terminus, and then they brainstormed and then did not play a land drop. Oh, they brainstormed on our turn actually. All right, so let's see what they have. It's I think it's a flash creature. Jeez. Okay. All right. I was not expecting that. Yeah, I definitely was not expecting that, but I don't think it's the end of the world. I was expecting, to be honest, containment freeze, or yeah, so it's containment freeze, but they have an island, sure. Euro, okay. Euro with plains and mountain is kind of interesting. Although they can cast it now, which is kind of crazy. Yeah, little no black, I guess. Um, hmm. They can Euro next turn. It depends if we want to play for the kill here or what. We have a Progenitus if we want it, but I actually don't think that's the line. I think we're just gonna glimpse and see what we draw. We can grist if need be in a worst case scenario, and then just take their whatever off the board. Well, they don't have force. Like they're gonna draw two cards, then like they're gonna Euro next turn. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, I think we're pretty ahead. Run core. This scares me a little bit though. If they have another one. Okay, so they're gonna main phase something right now. We can rule out the Kozilek's return now at least. I don't think they would play Pyroclasm, but you never know, right? Huh, okay. If I get a creature here, hmm. It's not lethal because of the Euro. We could. Yeah. Actually, that's not unreasonable. Runcore. Actually now that you mention it, I kind of like that line. I don't know why it's lagging. Actually, hold on. Uh, shouldn't have done the +1 before tapping Cradle. I think I did it correctly, but I have to review it, Runcore. Yeah, they could have the Euro. I just didn't want them to draw more. They're probably gonna Euro again here, is my guess. Probably could have done a better line there, to be honest. I'm not even sure we care about Euro at this point. Like we might have just, you know, playing with our food at the moment, so to speak. What is going on? Okay, interesting. Sure. He's got to take off the grist. Can't even attack us. I think this tells me they probably don't have Terminus. Oh, they're going for the win. Interesting. What? Activate how? Depends what you mean. I'm pretty sure I am supposed to minus here. Shepherd? Shepherd's not even on the board. Well, I could have hoofed there. Okay, I'm getting distracted. It does. Okay, what I should have done was natural order. Man, I think. Yeah, I'm messing up at the moment. But I don't think. Assuming we dodge what's it called? Terminus, we probably still win. We should have really had the kill already on this turn. I got distracted. Yeah, okay, well, now we can do it. Because if they swords here, we just gain more life, right? Okay. Sorry, our deck is Dursty is outdated. Oh, now we got punished. This is pretty brutal. We can still win here with. Judy, can you?
What?
Oh, man, what a punt. Yeah, we can't beat this sports league. We should have won this game. Yeah, I got unfortunately distracted. No, it's not even the Euros run court. Like we had the kill and just we just like got distracted. We had the natural order for the hook there for lethal. Yeah, we had already had Prague in play, and that would dealt at least 19 damage. Or I mean both, right? Like, man. Hey Marcus, how's it going, man? Yeah, that we let's try not to get tilted here. We still got this game three. It's just the dogs like running around and getting kind of distracted. I do think we're still favored here, game three. But unfortunately, didn't want to have to play this game three. But I guess it's better for the audience. We're gonna get a cradle here. Sure. I mean, I think their deck is like not very stocked, to be honest. I don't mind the weird, but it's just interesting. Yeah, it's definitely not stock. Here I'm just gonna glimpse for value. Like they could technically still end up turn brainstorm into terminus. But we're gonna. I think we're in a good spot. We're gonna get another. Oh, we didn't even need to. I was just gonna say we're gonna get another wirewood and essentially head against brainstorm into terminus next turn. Might as well maximize our draws here. The good thing about this is we get to put the progenitors right back, or at least Um, in this build, Marcus, I think well, it's two things, right? Like, um, I haven't played Pendelhaven essentially since Engineer got printed, so that's the first thing. It's not particularly great. against engineer. The second thing is the mana base actually is kind of fragile, and I actually like having access to Arbor at all times for natural order kills. Also the mana fixing, like especially now that this is a three color deck, could be Terminus here, yeah. Not too highly. I actually think I value it just the way it's meant to be. Mm, I think Once Upon a Time is really good, Marcus. What it does is it allows you to keep more hands, and you mulligan a lot less. It's kind of like Ponder. Yeah, I was having this discussion with like Jax and like a few other people and Jonathan. Unfortunately, the monkey makes it hard for hard control and combo players because it's kind of like a dread horde, right, against them because it comes down turn one instead of turn two, and you have to deal with it or you just lose the game. It's not as good against the creature decks, but it's just yeah, I feel bad for the definitely for the my control compatriots and my combo compatriots. Here, I think that's fine. That's tough, Marcus. That's totally true though. You're because breach is like combo control or high tie even. I think an ideal draw here is like Thoughtseize. I just want to see their hand and so I can go for the kill. We we're like miles ahead game two, and I mean uncharacteristically, I kind of got flustered and I punted the game. Yeah, the bog is ready in case. Oh, what did they do? They didn't do anything. Huh. Okay. So here I'm gonna draw. I'll try to draw out force first. Actually, no, I don't want to do that. Let's do it this way. No, I don't want to green sun because we can beat permission here. I did not see that happening though. We milled our hoof is the problem. But undo. It might still be okay, I think. We'll get a progenitus and then we'll just green sun for one. So Reclaimer is kind of like a pseudo Queen Ranger here. It's just awkward that we milled the Progenitus, is all. We probably still win. They have to hard cast like Supreme Verdict or something here. Like even that doesn't do it really. Another Euro. Okay. So they get a one, I guess. Actually, I think they're just dead. We have, let's see, three, four, five, six, 7 mana, 8 mana. Yeah, they're just dead. We can Green Sun for a Shepherd. Yeah, Grist powering your Cradle is pretty awesome. Yeah, it's game now. All right, we took the long way, but we actually got there. I guess it's good for the stream. We went 4-1. We actually punted game. Let's go back. The loss we had too, unfortunately. So easily could have been a 5-0, and actually, like this is pretty accurate. Like you losing 2-1 to Infect. We really should have been 2-0 here. Like I was like miles ahead and then lost that because I just lost my got distracted for a split second, and then here there's I don't know who tuned in right now, but there was a interaction with Tabernacle and Tangle Wire, and I just didn't think about it and just clicked OK, and we couldn't pay for our Reclaimer because our mana was already tapped. But I that could have been the difference because they could not have cast. They were at 3 life. They would not have been able to cast their Lodestone Golem, and not to mention we lost our Reclaimer for damage, which would have pinged them one a turn. Yeah, yeah. I think we probably would win. I don't know their hand, but hard to say. But the deck feels really good. Like we didn't actually see the. We actually got to see when the swords hurts us instead of the prismatic ending. But against Delver, we didn't even need a draw. We won anyways. List feels good overall though. I think with swords, probably don't need the scavengers. Didn't feel like we needed missed it today, so that's an open slot. And I think our other league we lost to Spanish Inquisition, but I don't really plan to beat those kind of decks. Like if we get paired against them, so be it. We didn't miss Leyline this league, but we definitely missed it the first league for what it's worth. Did anybody have any questions? I do want to touch a little bit on what Marcus said um, with the Pendelhaven. I just think that the mana base I value a lot, so that's why I don't want to run it. I'm also not sure what we would want it against, to be honest, right now. Like, in general, again, we don't have a problem with the monkey because we can just block. Yeah, blue Elves is a blue deck in disguise for sure, Marcus, if you're still on. Speaking of which, I'm gonna go ahead and give mod access to Marcus. Awesome. So yeah, so you have mod access now, Marcus, who is an awesome friend of mine. Also, you know, discussed a lot of drafts with him in our limited chat. So shout out to Marcus. If nobody had any other questions, I'll go ahead and let's see who you want. We can stream. We can raid Mana Symbol, but Anytime, Marcus. Yeah, if there are no other questions, I'll go ahead and just raid Mana Simple. But I think today's stream was pretty good overall. I apologize if I got a little tilted earlier, but I think we should finish strong at least. Yeah, the Delver matchup I think is very favored for us, Marcus, and the reason being is because we have a lot of creatures that they need to answer. I would say like pre-board, ignoring sideboards, we're probably, I don't know, maybe 65-35, something like that. Like maybe 2-1 odds. I do think like the way I board is I board out the natural order package because I want to just cast spells on time and simultaneously threaten a kill. Because Delver can have infinite removal, but if they don't have pressure, it's hard for them to beat us. And um, part of the reason why I switched to white originally was I like the idea of prismatic ending, doubling as flexible removal and then being 1 mana removal against Delver. I think since then I definitely want at least 2 swords, and then if I do run ending, it'll be like 1 or 2 copies. But the reason why it's favored, I think, is because you have a ton of card advantage and they can't really keep up. Like everything's a must kill. Shepherd, Reclaimer, they must answer Glimpse, Wirewood, Visionary, and then not to mention before the whale used to be a problem, but two things happened. They don't play the whale anymore, and Gris I think can handle the whale, and we can green sun for it now. The and 1 mana is a big difference than two, and what I realized is Decay was a fine card before, but I don't like it anymore because one of the ways you can lose the game is you just fall too far behind in the opening few turns. And I rather them count because if they counter the swords, they're not counting your glimpse or they're not counting your visionary or your reclaimer. And reclaimer is actually the best creature in the matchup because it's essentially a Tarmogoyf, and people who play Delver mirrors, Tarmogoyf's kind of broken in the Delver mirrors, and it kind of does a nice Tarmogoyf impression. Not to mention, if you untap with it and you essentially undo all their mana denial, because you can get Gaia's Cradle, right? It protects your lands the way Queen Ranger does, which is why I only have one in now. And just Gaia's Cradle is just broken. I mean, I don't think I need to talk too much about Gaia's Cradle, but in the old version of Delver, you can also get Cabal Pit to kill either Pyromancer or like other random threats. But these days, it mostly Cabal Pit only just handles Delver and can be a black source for Gris or whatever. Or before it was Decay. Anybody else have any other questions? Thanks for showing up. I appreciate everybody sticking with me to the end. Yeah, I think Doomsday is the hardest matchup out of the decks I actually would expect to play. And the reason why is we can't really stop their turn one Dark Ritual Doomsday. If they have it, like it's kind of hard to win. Um, Things that you can do is you can board and source the plowshares, and that's something for them to think about. Um, but in general, I think the matchup is very hard. Wasteland helps because it does beat their turn one Dark Ritual Doomsday lines. Endurance is a card that I tested when it first came out. I think it's much better in Band Control or Blue decks than it is in Delver. I'm not Delver, in Elves. The reason being is because it's very easy for the Doomsday player to play around. Like an easy pile they can make, for instance, is like Ideas Unbound, Thoughtseize, Street Reef, or Edge of Autumn plus LED, and then they can just Thoughtseize you first before they go for it, and then you have to endurance and response, and then they can still beat it, right? Like there, or another card that I've seen C play recently is like Pack of Negation. So I think endurance only works if your opponent doesn't really expect it. And I think the Doomsday players that I've run into, at least, they all kind of have that in mind, and they have Mindbreak Trap in mind, so it's hard to win with those type of cards. The other thing about endurance is Elves is a critical mass deck, so you don't really want to go down on cards. Um, you don't. It's hard for you to have a good kill, so you need pressure and disruption against Doomsday. Um, I think some do. I know like Kai does, and but maybe not anymore. I could be wrong, Marcus. But Mindbreak Trap is definitely an option. I do think though, especially in a Reclaimer build, uh, if they go fast, I think crop rotation for Wasteland is probably pretty good too. Yeah, so the thing is like, yeah, if you go fast, there's more things in the graveyard, and endurance may be able to buy you, but buy you time. But I don't like I've cast it 3 times the week it got printed, and I lost all 3 games, so that's kind of got me off the endurance. Yeah, yeah. So Marcus, I think endurance is like definitely I would bring it in if I had it, but I just don't. At least from the small sample size, I found that it doesn't actually win the game against Doomsday players. Like I cast it 3 times and I lost all 3 games, for what it's worth. Uh, Definitely signs is like okay. Like the scariest hands are like turn one Dark Ritual Doomsday. If you can get to turn three, I think you probably have a good chance to win for what it's worth from the elf side. But the problem is you probably lose on turn two a lot of times. It does because what it does is I wouldn't keep a hand just based on crop rotation, but if your opponent goes turn one Dark Ritual Doomsday, you can wasteland their land. They probably can't cast what they need to. Um, like what else is there to play? Thoughtseize doesn't stop their top decks and cost mana. Yeah, so you're absolutely right, Marcus. So if you expect to play against the turbo list, what I would probably do is the least flexible card in the sideboard here is Deafening Silence, and I probably just swap it for Mindbreak Trap, and then you can just get the Doomsday player that way. Crop rotation is like flexible, and that's why I want to keep it because it's graveyard hate and it's actually relevant in the you actually want access to Wasteland for certain decks that have Glacial Chasm, for instance, or Tabernacle, um, and it's good against Metal Age too, or the Dark Depths part. I think yeah. So that I think hopefully that answers the question, Marcus. But thanks everybody for coming by. I don't. I mean, to play Archive Trap, I think does it cost mana? I forget. I think it's free, right? Yeah, it looks like it's free. And okay, oops. Yeah, if you really want to hose Doomsday, Archive Trap is like definitely like hot tech, but very narrow as you said. No problem, Runcor. Anytime. Until next time, glad everybody came by. Time to send you guys to Mana Symbol. Of course, Marcus. Thanks for coming by.